Welcome to the Nano News Network, the first news network striving to achieve full automation with limited human involvement in content identification and creation. Make sure to like and subscribe to support the effort. On August 3, 2018, the White House released a briefing statement regarding economy and jobs titled "The Trump Economy Continues Full Steam Ahead." That briefing statement said, Friday's jobs report was a strong showing for the surging economy, which has been bolstered by booming economic growth, a red-hot labor market, and soaring confidence. MarketWatch: U.S. gains 157,000 jobs in July. Unemployment falls to 3.9%. The U.S. added 157,000 new jobs in July to nudge the unemployment rate below 4% again in another solid showing for a surging economy. Washington Examiner: jobless claims linger near lowest levels in decades. New applications for unemployment insurance benefits edged up by 1,000 to 218,000 in the last week of July, the Labor Department reported Thursday. That slight increase was right in line with forecasters' expectations, and means that claims are still extremely low by historical standards. Low jobless claims are a good sign, as they suggest layoffs are rare. CNS News: 155,965,000 employed in June, 11th record setter under Trump following last month's strong employment report. The numbers released on Friday were even better in some respects. The Labor Department's Bureau of Labor Statistics says a record 155,965,000 people were employed in July, the 11th record breaker since President Trump took office 19 months ago. Business Insider: the United States manufacturing job market hasn't been this strong in over 20 years. Left square bracket T right square bracket. He release showed that the manufacturing sector added another 37,000 jobs, the highest number since December. The latest edition also capped the strongest 12-month period for manufacturing jobs growth since 1995. Over the past year, the United States has added 327,000 manufacturing jobs, the highest 12-month total for manufacturing job growth since April 1995, when the number was 345,000. The Wall Street Journal: U.S. workers get biggest pay increase in nearly a decade. U.S. workers received their biggest pay increases in nearly a decade over the 12 months through June, a sign the strong labor market is boosting wages as employers compete for scarcer workers. The Labor Department's Employment Cost Index rose 2.8% in the year to June compared, the government said Tuesday. Wages and salaries, which account for about 70% of all employment costs, also rose 2.8% from a year earlier, the strongest gain for both measures since September 2008. 58% of workers to get a pay raise. Study shows it's a great time to be in the workforce. With the labor market tight and companies increasingly competing to attract and retain qualified workers, 58% of employers plan to give out raises by the end of 2018, according to a report released Friday by CareerBuilder. The Associated Press: United States consumer confidence edges up in July. The Conference Board, a business research group, said Tuesday that its consumer confidence index rose to 127.4 this month from 127.1 in June. The index measures both consumers' assessment of current economic conditions and expectations for the future. Their view of current conditions in July was the rosiest since March 2001. 43.1% said jobs were plentiful, most since March 2001. Bloomberg: Fed describes economy as strong for the first time since 2006. So long, modest, moderate and solid. Strength is making a comeback. The Federal Reserve described economic activity as strong in Wednesday's statement, the first time it's done so since it called it quite strong in May 2006. The economy is continuing full steam ahead after last week's blockbuster GDP report, which many editorial boards credited to President Trump's pro-growth agenda. The Wall Street Journal editorial board: the return of 3% growth, so much for secular stagnation. You remember that notion, made fashionable by economist Larry Summers and picked up by the press corps to explain why the U.S. economy couldn't rise above the 2.2% doldrums of the Obama years. Well, with Friday's report of 4.1% growth in the second quarter, the U.S. economy has now averaged 3.1% growth for the last 6 months and 2.8% for the last 12. The lesson is that policies matter, and so does the tone set by political leaders. Las Vegas Review-Journal editorial board, Donald Trump reveling in good economic news. The Trump economy continues to shine. On Friday, the Commerce Department announced the economy grew 4.1% in the second quarter, the fastest for a 3-month period in 4 years. That's a far cry from the 2% that liberal pundits prophesied was the new normal when Barack Obama failed to reach 3% growth for any of his 8 years in office. New York Post editorial board, GDP boom. It sure looks like Trumponomics is doing what Obamanomics couldn't. The difference is huge. Already, the Trump boom has the unemployment rate at historic lows, including for blacks and Hispanics. And the tight labor markets are pushing up wages and pulling people who'd given up hope back into the workforce. Two enormously positive developments. Boston Herald editorial board, so far so good on economy. The U.S. economy is supercharged. Second quarter growth rose to 4.1%. Although a full-on celebration of Trumponomics is premature, we must give him a lot of credit for the good news. Americans are spending their tax cuts and businesses are unrestrained by the burdensome regulations that hindered their growth potential for years. The president is pro-business to the core. Washington Examiner editorial board, from doom to boom. The U.S. economy grew at an annualized 4.1% in the second quarter, the highest rate since 2014. Last quarter was the 5th straight with more than 2% growth, a streak we haven't seen since 2005 to 2006. The 5 full quarters of the Trump administration have averaged 3.19%. Thank you for joining us at N3, the Nano News Network. The first news network striving to achieve full automation with limited human involvement in content identification and creation. Please be sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel to help support our efforts.